She posted, "Sometimes you have to break someone's heart to find your own happiness," with a photo of her and her fitness trainer. I didn't unfollow. I just quietly moved out, took my name off the lease, and blocked her number. 3 weeks later, the landlord was calling her about the full rent she couldn't afford. Original post: I, 32 male, saw the Instagram post at 11 p.m. on a Thursday while sitting in my truck after a 12-hour shift at the warehouse. My live-in girlfriend of 4 years, Jessica, 29, had posted a sunset photo of herself wrapped around her fitness trainer, Blake, 26, with that caption about breaking hearts to find happiness. We'd been having issues, sure. I worked long hours managing logistics at a distribution center. She worked part-time at a boutique downtown. She'd been complaining I was emotionally unavailable and didn't prioritize the relationship. Meanwhile, I was pulling overtime to cover our $2,100 first month apartment that she insisted we needed for her creative space and home yoga studio. The fitness trainer thing started 3 months ago. She said she needed something for herself, joined this boutique gym that cost $180 a month. I supported it, even though it stretched our budget. Blake was assigned as her personal trainer. Within weeks, she was going to the gym 5 days a week, texting him about meal plans, meeting for protein smoothies. "You're being insecure," she'd say when I mentioned the constant texting. "Blake's helping me become my best self. You should be supportive." So there I sat, staring at this post. Her friends already commenting with heart emojis and "yes queen" and "so happy for you." I didn't comment, didn't like, didn't even unfollow. Just sat there for about 20 minutes, then drove to my buddy Derek's place. "Can I crash here for a few days?" I asked when he opened the door. "Rough night?" I showed him the post. He whistled low. "Dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. Guest room's yours." That night, while Jessica was presumably with Blake, I went back to the apartment. Packed my clothes, my gaming setup, my tools, the TV I'd bought, my grandmother's cast iron pans she always mocked as unnecessarily heavy. Left all the decorative pillows, the essential oil diffuser, the macrame wall hangings. The lease was entirely in my name. Jessica's credit was shot from her entrepreneurial phase 2 years ago when she tried to start a crystal healing business. She was listed as an authorized occupant, not a leaseholder. The utilities? My name. Internet? Mine. Even the parking spot was registered to my truck. Friday morning, went to the leasing office right when they opened. "Need to remove an authorized occupant and terminate my lease at the end of the month," I told Brenda, the property manager. "Oh no, trouble in paradise?" she asked, then saw my face. "Sorry, none of my business. We'll need 30 days notice for the lease termination." "That's fine. What about removing the occupant? Since you're the sole leaseholder, just need your signature. They'll have no legal right to the apartment after that, though we typically give them reasonable time to vacate." "How long is reasonable?" "Usually 30 days, but if they're not on the lease..." She shrugged. I signed the paperwork, then went to work and put in for a transfer to our facility 40 miles north, same pay, cheaper area, and they'd been begging me to help fix their shipping problems for months. Sent Jessica one text. "Saw your post. Moving on like you suggested. Your things are at the apartment." Then blocked her number. Blocked her on everything, even LinkedIn. Update 1 week later. The explosion was spectacular. Since I'd blocked Jessica everywhere, she started using other people's phones. First was her mom, Diane. Derek played me the voicemail she left him after somehow getting his number. "This is Diane, Jessica's mother. I don't know what fantasy your friend is living in, but he cannot just abandon my daughter. She has rights. He needs to man up and work through this like an adult." My sister got this gem. "Hi, this is Jessica's mom. Your brother is having some kind of breakdown. He's thrown Jessica out with no warning. She's devastated. Please talk sense into him. This is no way to handle relationship issues." My response? Nothing. Radio silence. But here's where it gets good. Remember how I mentioned Jessica worked part-time? 20 hours a week at that boutique, making maybe $600 every 2 weeks after taxes. Her half of the rent alone was with $1,050. She'd been floating on my income, transferring me maybe $300 to $400 a month when she could. According to Derek's girlfriend, who still followed her on Instagram, the post started changing real quick. Day 3. "Anyone know of affordable studio apartments? looking for a fresh start. Day 5. Why is everything so expensive? How do people live like this? Day 7. Selling some clothes and accessories, high-end only. DM for prices. Derek's girlfriend screenshotted Jessica's story where she was selling the designer purse I'd bought her for Christmas for $200. It originally cost me $450. Then Blake started appearing less in her posts. Turns out Mr. Fitness Trainer lived with 2 roommates in a house 40 minutes away and wasn't exactly rolling in cash. He made decent money for a trainer, but not support your new girlfriend's lifestyle money. The mutual friend network started lighting up. Jessica's best friend Kayla called Derek's girlfriend. Jessica's staying on my couch and she's a mess. Ryan just left her. No conversation, no attempt to work things out. She made one mistake and he destroyed her life. One mistake? She posted about it on Instagram, Derek's girlfriend replied. It was just a caption. She was being poetic. The entitlement was already showing. In Jessica's mind, publicly announcing she was choosing another man was just being poetic, and I should have, what? Waited around? Paid for the apartment while she figured things out with Blake? But the real comedy started when I got a call from the leasing office. Brenda sounded awkward. Hi, Ryan. So, Jessica came by. She's demanding to see the lease agreement and insisting she has tenant rights. And, well, I explained she's not on the lease, just an authorized occupant you've removed. She didn't take it well. Threatened to call a lawyer, said you two had a verbal agreement that she's been paying rent. Did she provide any proof of rent payments? She showed some Venmo transactions to you labeled stuff and for apartment. Maybe $300 to $400 a month? Those were her contributions to utilities and groceries. I have all my bank statements showing I paid the full rent every month. That's what I figured. Just wanted to keep you in the loop. The transfer to the northern facility came through. My new start date was in 2 weeks. Found a decent 1-bedroom for $950 a month near the new location. Everything was falling into place. Then Jessica discovered I'd blocked her on everything and lost her mind. Update 2. 2 weeks later, Jessica went nuclear. Full scorched earth. First, she tried to break into the apartment while I was at work. The doorbell camera I'd installed last year, she called it paranoid. Caught everything. Her jabbing keys that no longer worked into the lock, then trying to jimmy the window, all while on the phone sobbing to someone about how he changed the locks on our home. Building security showed up. She caused a scene. Told them she lived there, that I was abusively keeping her out. Security called Brenda, who confirmed Jessica was no longer authorized to be on the property. They escorted her out. She screamed that she'd sue everyone. That evening, while I was packing boxes, I get a call from my boss, Mike. Hey Ryan, weird question. Did you and Jessica break up? Yeah, why? She called here, said you're having a mental health crisis, that you're not stable, bunch of concerning stuff, wanted us to do a wellness check or something. My stomach dropped. Mike, relax, I know it's BS, but HR wants you to come in tomorrow, just to document everything. Cover our bases, you know? Is my transfer in jeopardy? Hell no, corporate's been begging for you up north for months. Just need the paperwork straight. Next day, sitting in HR, explaining the situation. Showed them the Instagram post, the lease documents, the doorbell footage of her trying to break in. HR lady, Patricia, just shook her head. We've seen this before. Bitter ex trying to cause workplace problems. We'll document everything. If she calls again, we'll consider it harassment and involve legal. Then came the social media campaign. Jessica posted this sob story. When you give someone 4 years of your life, support their dreams, make a home together, and they throw you away like garbage because you dared to find happiness. Some people can't handle seeing others grow. Now I'm homeless because someone's ego couldn't handle the truth. If anyone knows of resources for women escaping financial abuse, please DM me. The comments were mixed. Some of her friends rallied around her, but others were skeptical. One person asked, "Didn't you just post about breaking his heart to find happiness with your trainer?" Jessica deleted that comment. Then another person posted, "Girl, you literally posted pics with another man talking about breaking hearts. What did you expect?" She deleted that too. Then just turned off comments. But here's where she really messed up. She started a GoFundMe. Help Jess rebuild after financial abuse. Goal, $5,000. The description was a masterpiece of delusion. Claimed I'd controlled all the finances, true, because she couldn't manage money. Isolated her from opportunities. She worked part-time by choice and left her destitute after she tried to pursue independence. She raised $127. $100 was from her mom, $27 from her aunt. Meanwhile, Blake was MIA, completely disappeared from her social media. Derek did some Instagram detective work and found Blake posting gym videos with a new client, a very attractive woman doing squats while he spotted her very attentively. Then came the extinction burst. I learned this term from my therapist later. Jessica somehow found out about my transfer. Don't know how. Maybe someone at the apartment complex mentioned the forwarding address I'd filed. She showed up at the warehouse at shift change. I was walking to my truck when I heard, "Ryan." There she was. Hair unwashed, wearing the same yoga pants and oversized sweater I'd seen in her Instagram stories 3 days ago. Looked like she hadn't slept. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't." Kept walking. She grabbed my arm. "You can't just leave. We had a life together. You ended that life when you chose Blake. Speaking of which, where is he?" Her face crumpled. "That's not... We're taking space to figure things out." I actually laughed. "He dumped you already?" "He didn't dump me. He just needs time to figure out his living situation before we move forward." Translation: he doesn't want to pay for you either. She snapped, started screaming about how I ruined everything, how I was supposed to fight for her, how real men don't just walk away, how she made one tiny mistake and I destroyed her life over it. My coworkers were watching, some filming. I stayed calm. "Jessica, you publicly announced you were choosing another man. You made your choice. I respected it. Now please leave before I call security. You can't just throw away 4 years. You did that." Posted about it, actually. Got lots of likes too. She tried to follow me to my truck, but Mike came out. "Ma'am, you need to leave the property, now." She looked between us, saw she was outnumbered, and stormed off. But not before screaming, "You'll regret this. You'll be alone forever. No one will ever love you like I did." "That's the plan," I called back. Update 3. 3 weeks later. 3 weeks after I'd moved out, exactly as mentioned in the title, I get a call from an unknown number. Almost didn't answer, but something told me this would be entertaining. "Hello? Mr. Ryan Thompson?" Older woman's voice, professional. "Yes? This is Margaret from Premium Property Management. You were listed as an emergency contact for Jessica Martinez regarding Unit 4B at Riverside Complex. I knew Brenda had left for vacation, and Margaret must be covering. We're not together anymore. I moved out 3 weeks ago and terminated my lease effective end of month, which was last week." "Oh, I see. Well, we have a situation. Miss Martinez is claiming she's the primary tenant, but our records show the lease was solely in your name and has been terminated. She hasn't paid this month's rent, and when we tried to process her application to take over the lease, she was declined due to insufficient income and credit issues." "That sounds like a her problem." Margaret sighed. "She's claiming you two had an agreement, that you've been accepting her rent money, that this is an illegal eviction." "Ma'am, she was never on the lease. She was an authorized occupant who I removed after our relationship ended. She publicly announced she was with someone else. I have documentation of everything." "I understand. We're starting eviction proceedings, but she wanted us to contact you first, said you'd pay if you understood the situation." I actually laughed. "No, absolutely not. Is that all?" "Yes, I just needed to confirm. Have a good day." But Jessica wasn't done. The next day, Diane called my work again. This time, she got Mike directly. "Your employee has made my daughter homeless. She's sleeping in her car. This is on your company's hands if something happens to her." Mike, absolute legend, responded, "Ma'am, your daughter's housing situation is not our company's responsibility. If you call again, we'll consider it harassment and involve law enforcement." Then came the mass text from Jessica's friend Megan to a group chat I was apparently still in. "Hey everyone. I know things are complicated right now, but Jess really needs our help. She's facing eviction and needs $2,100 ASAP for rent. If everyone could chip in even $100, we could really make a difference. She's been through so much with Ryan abandoning her." The responses were brutal. Didn't she cheat with her trainer? Why isn't Blake helping? Maybe she should work full-time? I'm not paying her rent, sorry. One brave soul wrote, Ryan didn't abandon her. She posted about choosing someone else. There are consequences to actions. Megan removed that person from the chat. I screenshotted everything before leaving the group. Day 25 after the breakup, Jessica hit rock bottom. According to Derek's girlfriend's reconnaissance, she posted a tearful video. I've lost everything. My home, my relationship, my stability, all because I was honest about my feelings. Ladies, this is what happens when you live your truth. Men will destroy you for it. Someone commented, girl, you literally cheated and bragged about it online. She deleted the video an hour later, but the absolute peak happened that weekend. I'm at Derek's place for a barbecue when his girlfriend shows us Jessica's latest Instagram story. A selfie from inside a U-Haul with caption, moving back in with mom for a bit. Sometimes you need to regroup to level up. #new beginnings, stronger than ever. Her mom lived in a retirement community 3 states away that barely allowed overnight guests, let alone long-term residents. Derek's girlfriend did more recon. Turns out Jessica was actually moving into Megan's studio apartment, as in, sleeping on a futon in a 400-square-foot space with 1 bathroom. The same Megan who'd been trying to crowdfund Jessica's rent. Final update. 2 months later, I'm writing this from my new place up north. Small town, quiet, my commute's 8 minutes instead of 45. Rent's cheaper, saved enough to finally buy that welding setup I'd wanted for side projects. The last I heard about Jessica was through the grapevine about 3 weeks ago. She's working full-time now, imagine that. At a call center making $17 per hour. Still living on Megan's couch, though apparently that's causing tension. Megan's boyfriend isn't thrilled about the permanent house guest. Blake? Posted engagement photos last month. Yeah, engaged. To a woman who owns a Pilates studio. Turns out he'd been dating her the entire time he was hooking up with Jessica. She was just one of several clients he was training after hours. The studio owner had no idea until someone forwarded her Jessica's Breaking Hearts post. She dumped him immediately, but they apparently worked through it. Good luck with that, lady. Jessica went ballistic when she found out. Posted a long rant about narcissistic men who can't commit and players who destroy women's lives. The lack of self-awareness is stunning. She really thought Blake was going to be her meal ticket out of financial responsibility. Her mom, Diane, sent me one last message through my sister. I hope you're happy. Jessica's life is ruined because you couldn't forgive one mistake. She's in therapy now, dealing with the trauma you caused. My sister replied, the only trauma was Ryan paying her way for 4 years while she contributed almost nothing and then cheated. Maybe therapy will help with the entitlement issue. Diane blocked her. The apartment complex? Brenda told me they had to legally evict Jessica after she squatted for 2 weeks post-lease termination. She'd tried to claim tenant rights, but without being on the lease and with me having properly terminated it, she had no leg to stand on. The eviction's on her record now. Good luck renting anything decent with that. She tried one last play, had a lawyer friend send me a demand letter for unlawful eviction and emotional distress. My company's legal department, perks of working for a major logistics firm, sent back a response that essentially said she was never a tenant, just a guest who overstayed her welcome. Here's the Instagram post where she announced the relationship was over. Here's proof Mr. Thompson paid all rent. Go away. Never heard from that lawyer again. The funniest part? About a month ago, I get a notification that Jessica viewed my LinkedIn profile. Then viewed it again. Then again. Girl was checking up on me, probably hoping I'd failed somehow. Nope. Got a promotion at the new facility, 15% raise. Posted about it too. She viewed that post within an hour. My therapist, yeah, I got one. This whole thing messed with my head more than I admitted. Said something that stuck. She wanted you to fight for her because it would validate her worth. When you just walked away, it showed her she wasn't worth fighting for. That's why she escalated. She couldn't handle the indifference. He's right. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And I was completely indifferent to her chaos after that Instagram post. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere. The part-time job by choice while complaining about money. The expensive tastes on my budget. The way she'd frame every request for equal contribution as financial abuse. The constant need for validation through social media. Blake was just the catalyst that revealed who she really was. The title of this post ended up being prophetic. 3 weeks later, she really did get that call about rent she couldn't afford. But it wasn't my problem anymore. It never should have been my problem to begin with. To anyone reading this in a similar situation, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. When they publicly announce they're choosing someone else, let them. Don't fight, don't beg, don't engage. Just protect yourself legally and financially, then walk away. The best revenge isn't some elaborate scheme. It's simply removing yourself from the equation and letting them face the natural consequences of their choices. Jessica wanted to break hearts to find happiness. She found out the heart she broke was the one keeping her afloat. Oh, and before anyone asks, no, I'm not dating anyone. Not interested right now. Focusing on work, my welding projects, and figuring out who I am when I'm not paying for someone else's lifestyle. It's pretty nice. That empty bank account notification she must get every month? That declined card when she tries to buy her overpriced coffee? That moment when she realizes Blake was just using her like she was using me? That's better than any revenge I could have planned. Living well isn't the best revenge. Living free is.